Hi. Hey, Soha. How are you doing? You know what? I think I'll add a good image for this. What's going on, Game Over Hell? Looking for an image. No. That is not looking good there. What happened there? Gotta fit it. Praise be. Praise be indeed. I should have hooked up my Saturn to the retro tank I just got. I could play some World Series baseball because that's the next game I need to play and review for the show. Should have been fun. Let's stretch this out a little bit.
So I got an email saying that somebody was playing Diablo 4.
Well, that would be wrong. How's it going, Shane?
Well, now I'm disappointed.
I mean, every time I play, I think you're technically disappointed.
I, I, I I plead the fifth. I don't know. Um, hi, yeah. What is this about the baseball? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Randall? Um, I'm a little frustrated that the 14 people don't read the 14 channel. Oh, well, it's just what it is. I said, like, I got a retro tank. I just bought one. And I got to get on 14 soon, too. I know I do. But I'm so, like, backed up and crap. But I got a retro tank from friend of the show. Bought one from Rick
Hmm.
from the Pixel Project Radio podcast, which is just starting up soon. They're going to have a 13 Sentinels episode, which is a fantastic game, by the way.
I think I bought that on sale at some point.
Yeah, it's been on sale a lot. It's utterly
Yeah.
fantastic. And everyone should go play it, but he's coming out with an episode on that. But I got a retro tank from him, so now I can technically hook up all my retro systems, with the exception of the TurboGrafx 16, unless I get an AV booster, which is expensive because it only has RF out. So I can hook up everything, and I can hook it up to my capture card and play it that way. But I haven't. But that takes like time, and I hadn't set that up because I wasn't that forward thinking. Because I didn't think people would be voting for the slime. So apparently they voted for the Q&A. Because I said if everyone votes for the slime, I'm just going to do the Q&A, and people kept voting for the slime. Second place was Final Fantasy Renaissance. Play more of that, which would be cool
Hmm.
because I haven't played 2.0, and I love that game. But I'm not gonna. I'm looking at the vote count right now, and I'm not shifting this until the vote count shifts. And yes, this is in the patron channel, so only patrons can vote. You dirty, dirty, sly bastards. I love you though. Well, trolling has consequences. All right, here's our first question, Shane. Oh, we got the stream elements. Are we restreaming, by the way? Are we on YouTube?
No, not yet. We still gotta. There's some extra steps to get that set up. I gotta walk you through that later. So
Okay.
no.
Okay, cool. That's going to be happening, people. It'll be cool. So, first question: if you were given $7,500 and told to leave your home for 365 days, what would you do during that time? What?
All right,
That's
wait. Read the question again. I just got disconnected. What's up?
if you were given $7,500 and told to leave your home for 365 days, what would you do during that time?
Um, that seems like weirdly specific.
It does. Why? And I can't leave my home. Like, I have people I need to feed. They would starve. That wouldn't be an option. Hey guys, what's going on, Keaton? $7,500. I mean, It's a decent chunk of change, but that's like I that wouldn't last me long. Losing your job and feeding your family not an issue in this hypothetical. Um so if I'm single, I'd have to think if I have to say okay, if I'm single, I wouldn't lose my job. I have to leave my home. Would I lose my home? What are the games lined up in the hopes to not allow Persona? That's up to our top tier patrons. That's up to the 32 and HD patrons, and that will be determined in September. I think September. Yeah, September. Um, God. Okay, the next question is what inspired me to do IO Centenario. I'll get to that. So if I was given free reign and said, "Hey, you gotta leave," because I mean, I technically did leave my home, but like this is more opportunity. $7,500, totally my home. I'd probably go somewhere where I want to live. So like Pensacola, uh, Dallas, Fort Worth, maybe San Antonio, Greenville, South Carolina, somewhere like that. Because I have enough for bus fare. I have enough to put down on a deposit for a flat on the outskirts of town. I would assume I already have my car. And then I'd start job hunting and get a job. That's what I do.
Okay, like why I know we're picking apart this question, which is probably not what you wanted, but like why $7,500? Like that seems like a oddly specific number. Like would why that? Or did you just pull that number out of your ass? Like I'm curious why. And if you're saying like what we would do just if we had no obligations and just free reign to do whatever for a year, because it's lower than 10. Okay, so no reason whatsoever. Got it. Man, I don't know. It's a good question. Mostly because I have no clue. I mean, at least part of that would probably be me trying to like catch up on my seemingly infinite backlog of games. That would probably happen.
You'd have to leave your home though. You have no possessions.
I mean, but he didn't say you couldn't take shit with you. He just said you got to leave your home.
Yeah.
Like I can do some war driving. I'll take a laptop and just steal people's free internet. I don't care.
Go live at Video Game Rescue.
All right, yeah. Gotta say, I could park outside of a Starbucks.
Yeah. Be a permanent employee at Video Game Rescue. Chris's evil twin is streaming tonight. No. The evil twin is the one without the beard from now on. So, going back to IO Saturnalia, I'll let you think about it a little bit more, Shane, because I got a more direct question on this. What inspired me to do IO Saturnalia? So, there is a YouTube channel that I mentioned in the first episode that I did. That was the YouTube channel is called Pandemonium Reviews Every Saturn Game, and I started watching their channel, and it's a fantastic YouTube channel, by the way. And I really love their content, but they stopped after like 20 games. I'm figuring out why. That doesn't mean I'm not removing myself from the cause, but they stopped after a while. It's a lot of work. And I was like, you know what? I think I can dedicate myself to this. And there's also another channel that I'm a part of, server that I'm a part of, community that I'm a part of, the Retro Wars podcast with Daniel Carroll. And Daniel Carroll and Retro Wars inherited something, a mindset from Remember the Game, which is what he took inspiration from to make his podcast, which he would not review any Saturn games. So some members of the Remember the Game community went over to his server, much like I did, and we started asking him to do Saturn games. And one of the ways that we started trolling him is there's a member of his community who's also technically a part of our community. He gives us shout outs all the time, and he also has a podcast called Retrotopia. And by Captain N. He's been on our show before. What show was Brian on? Was it God, I can't remember the show. The episode. He's been on our show before. He'll be on our show later this year too. Soul Blazer. He was on the Soul Blazer episode. But Captain Ed made a little channel in that episode called Praise Saturn, because the Praise Saturn was a slogan that I created. I don't know if I singularly created it as a joke or if I had some assistance in it, but it was like hashtag Praise Saturn, because there was a lot of people called Saturnians over in the Remember the Game channel. But he made the Praise Saturn channel, so I just started making little micro reviews of Saturn games, the North American Saturn games, every single day in that channel. I've slowed down. I'm still progressing. I'm at like 180 over in that server of little Saturn reviews I did. And I was like, you know what? I can probably make this a podcast. I like what Pandemonium did. Pandemonium slowed down. I don't have to do video. I have a mode. I can download every single one of these games, play them for a little bit, and then give my thoughts. Because there seems to be a lot of weird Saturn hate out there. So, you know, let me do my part. Let me put my money where my mouth is, because the mode's not cheap, and I bought a mode, and I always sing the praises of the Sega Saturn. So, let me go through this library and, you know, play all the good stuff and also play all the crap. And it's not too much. It's like 240 something games. So, yeah, that's what really inspired me. I like the closing thoughts post release games. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. After, are you talking about like at the end? Like how, yeah, that's a lot of that's going to go away, because it's going to, if that's what you're talking about, like, what I thought, like, how the games would have impacted it. Just because at some point it's not really going to change things. I still kind of talk about that right now, but when you get into 1996, it's kind of like, oh, the Saturn's struggling. And I might say that from time to time. It's like, hey, there's not a really major hit, but like there's a lot of games in 1996. I'm not going to be able to do that. I really don't do that a lot for the most part. I wanted to make a joke out of one game I recorded because it was a hockey game. And I just wanted to talk about all the hockey players that I really admired because it's horrible. But I backed off that because it did have some good things about it that I did want to mention. So I didn't make it a complete joke. So unfortunately, I might do that later if I run into another bad sports game. Just my memories when it comes to sports, and then just at the end of the game, at the end of the episode, say, yeah, this game's trash. I'm not even gonna go over any reviews or anything like that. Just don't play it. It sucks. So that might be coming down the pipeline. I don't know yet. Going back to the questions, have you thought about the $7,500 yet, Shane?
I mean, I still honestly have no idea what I would do with that. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what would be if I wasn't at home. See, Randall, this is the problem with asking a like chronic homebody what they would do if they couldn't be at home. Or like, I don't know, die? Like, I don't um uh I mean, if I had nothing else going on, I mean, I guess I could kind of like maybe do like a road trip or something, go see some stuff around the country that I haven't seen before.
The thing is, like, the entire year thing. If I was given 3 months, or like 2 months, or 1 month, I could definitely tell you what I would do. But an entire year, at that point, I'm like, I gotta find a way to survive. That's the first thing on my mind. It's kind of depressing when you really think about it.
Yeah.
All right. Good question from both Orden and Keaton about why to start Saturnalia. How can my feet smell? This is from Savagery. Blame the Hoagie Man. How can my feet smell if they don't have a nose? They do have a nose. And they're creating a stink.
I don't think that's how noses work.
You don't know that. There's little bacteria on your feet that have noses.
Oh.
I would assume they have noses. I don't know. I don't have a microscope. I'm gonna say they do.
All right, well then my headcanon for this is they also have tiny little mustaches.
They should.
Yeah.
Any special theme months coming up apart from Scary Month? Oh yeah,
Yeah, well there's always the Spooktober. That is
always.
true.
The next theme is going to be in September, and the entire month of September is going to be dedicated to the Sega Dreamcast. And 2 games from the Sega Dreamcast launch. What was the first game you remember playing for both of us? So, Sonic Adventure, surely. Yes, Sonic Adventure will be one of those games. So, Shane, I'll let you take this one. What was the first game that you remember playing?
Oh God. First game. I would have to imagine that it would have to be something on the Master System. Um, as far as like which one, I don't know if I could say, but it had to have been a Master System game because that was the first console that we ever had as a family. So it would had to have been either the one that I can never remember the damn name of, the gangster light gun shooter, that one, or possibly the really shitty licensed tie-in Rocky boxing game. Let's see, what else did we have? The Master System.
Gangster Town, which is we have said we wanted to do an episode on that game, by the way.
Oh yeah, Gangster Town. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
It's a good fucking game.
It is good. Yeah. Helped balance out Rocky because that game sucks. Um, God, I can't even remember what else we had now, but it's probably one of those two, most likely. I have to assume.
So the first game I remember playing, and I see some other questions. Thanks for joining us, Tom, the superhero. I'll get to your questions shortly. Do you remember your first video game? Oh, the first game. Sorry, before I get to that, the first game I remember playing. Even though there's 3 games that I played initially, because I got my Super Nintendo probably in Christmas '89, which was Double Dragon 2, Super Mario Brothers, and Duck Hunt. And I think a lot of people would assume the first game I remember playing would be Super Mario Brothers. It's actually Double Dragon 2. I remember playing a lot more Double Dragon 2 initially than Super Mario Brothers, but I know I played a lot of Super Mario Brothers. Who didn't? And I do remember playing Super Mario Brothers, of course. But yeah, Double Dragon 2 is the first one I remember playing. And probably after that is Duck Hunt. No, Double Dragon 2 is the first one I remember playing. After that is Duck Hunt, and then it's Super Mario Brothers. Probably because I thought the cover of Double Dragon 2 looked badass. And I thought it was I didn't think as a like 4-year-old, that's not the word I would use, badass, but I thought it looked really cool. Super 80s. So that was kind of the style at the time, as they say. Okay. Next one, I'll take this one first. By the way, if you don't want to have us do this Q&A, which I love having right now, you can always, if you're a patron, head over to our patron pub and vote to cancel this. I'm fine with this, but I don't have to pay attention to the games. I can pay attention to lovely chat and talk about me, which is awesome. Do you remember your first video game crush? It probably wasn't the first one, but it's the first one I remember. And that is Katana from Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, it's it's funny that you say that because my mind immediately went to MK2 also. So I don't know what that does, but I'm trying to think if there would have been anything before that. I don't think because let's be real, like it would definitely be if it was anything before that, it would have to have been like the like the official artwork that went along with the game because the pixel graphics weren't much of anything. So
right.
God, that's a good question. Yeah, my brain immediately went to like Katana and or Melina, but Let me see.
That's awesome. I don't know why that's the case either. That's weird. That's I mean
I
that's
just
that's
feel like I think it's. I mean, if I had to guess, I feel like it's just because like that was one of the first
yeah.
like mocap games, you know. So
So here's kind of a qualifier because like when I watched the cartoons, I remember being really
mm,
little and having a crush on the cartoon Zelda from the from the animated show, that being the Super Mario Brothers Super
yes,
Show. But that didn't in my mind translate over to the games because you never see Zelda in the games. And why would you have a crush on Zelda in the games? She's like a 4x4 sprite. Well, it's more than
right.
that. But yeah, it's like yeah, the cartoon, like yeah, like a little kid crush. But the first one I specifically remember was definitely Katana. Almost like creepy too. My parents just let me have all sorts of weird thoughts in my mind. Like when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I remember watching Terminator on VHS repeatedly because it showed a nipple. It's like,
Oh,
ooh,
jeez. Yeah, yeah. That yeah. I've thought about that one many a time. Of like, I don't understand the logic here. And I know I've talked about this like probably on the show before too, but just the logic that went into what my parents did or did not let me watch. I was just like, in retrospect, I'm like, I don't think y'all really thought this through all the way. Like they're like, yeah, Beavis and Butthead is a no because it's crude and we don't like that, but please feel free to watch the Terminator that is hyper violent and also nudity, and that's fine. I'm like, all right, sure.
that's like reverse because nudity is like way worse than violence in this country.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can't nipples, the titty, that's a sin. You cannot see a nipple in this country. It's not allowed. Got to go to Europe and those weird commie bastards that live over there in order to see a nipple. Can't trust them. Anyway, moving on.
Man, now you got me thinking about it. I'm like trying to. I'm like Googling like because I need something that's gonna like jog my memory. I'm trying to figure out if there were any like female video game characters from like way back when that would have qualified.
Well,
I don't
there,
know. We can move on to the next
yeah.
one. I'm doing research.
Well, Tom the superhero asks, "Do I smell an Omicron the Nomad Soul playthrough coming?" Probably not. It was a Dreamcast game though. That might be what he was referencing. The month of Dreamcast. No, that's not that one. All right. Savagery comes back. If you had the time to drive to be good at any game, if you had the time and the drive to be good at any game that has an esport that goes with it, which game would you dedicate your time to win your $7,500? We're really getting hooked on the $7,500 total. I
Mhm.
would say, ooh, I would have to pick a game that's like somewhat evergreen and you know what? I'm gonna go to Korea. I'm gonna pick StarCraft. What about yourself, Shane?
That's a pretty good pick. I don't know. Like what competitive like an esport game. My gut reaction would be something like FPS related, just because like if I wanted to be good at something, I guess it'd probably be something like that. I don't know, like what do people even still play? Like I guess Counter-Strike. Like I don't.
Call of Duty,
Yeah, but I don't really like that. So, okay, here's the
Valorant.
thing. If I had my absolute if I had my absolute druthers of like anything, even if it's not necessarily something that's still going on, I would say that I would want to become like pro at like Unreal Tournament. That would be my that
Mm,
would be my thing. Because Unreal Tourney is super fun.
all right. Wasn't allowed to watch the first 5 minutes of Lethal Weapon because of boobs, but the rest was okay. Of course. course. Boobs are the devil. If you have boobs, you are a sinner. Can't see them. Not even in the mirror. Or you'll go to hell. All right. Why do you think Sega quit the console race? Nintendo has failed quite a lot as well, but still kept on. Could it be because they had this is from Soha. Could it be because they had successful handheld consoles? No, it's called Sega had no idea how to balance their budget. Even like they again, shout out to Pandemonium reviews every Saturn game because I think he covered it in his video where he talks about the Sega Saturn 96 or 97 where it really came down to, and there's been a couple other reports that even though the Genesis was selling consoles in the United States, they weren't really selling games by 94, 95. And all of their money was going into having to support all these branching consoles and doing all this R&D that they couldn't. So what it really came down to, they got out of the console race because they just didn't have the cash anymore. And they didn't know how to manage their budgets. They didn't know how to communicate between Sega of Japan and Sega of America and Sega of Europe. Like it was all fractured. And especially between America and Japan, they were always butting heads. So yeah, they just ran out of cash. And the company as a whole probably wouldn't exist if I think their founder died in like 2001 or 2002 or something like that. And the only reason they're still around today is because he died, because he said upon his death he wanted to sell all of his shares in the company and put it back into liquidity into Sega. I think that's the only reason they're still around. It's nuts. It's something to that. So it's they just ran out of cash. And it's expensive to get a console out there, especially when you're competing against the likes of Sony and Microsoft. And Nintendo was just a lot smarter with their money. That's what it really came down to. All right, I'll kick this one over to you, Shane. What's one company, alive or dead, you would want to be CEO of for 2 years?
I mean, could I just say like basically any? Because if I was CEO for 2 years, I'd probably make enough money to live off of for the rest of my life and get a nice golden parachute. Like, is that the cynical, like, late stage capitalism answer? Like, I don't know.
I mean, 2 days, technically.
Yeah. I mean, and if the point of what you're asking is like, which one would be like cool to be CEO of? I don't, man. Oh, I know. I I'm gonna say it's dead because this version of it doesn't exist anymore. I would totally be CEO of like OG Blizzard. Like when all of the founding members were still there and they were like in their heyday, I would 100% be there because that would probably be awesome.
My answer is Standard Oil. They fucking owned everything. I am a god. Bow before me. All right, next question. If you were kidnapped by a crazy Atari fan, those don't exist, but I'll humor you. And you were forced to play an Atari 2600 game that couldn't be Pitfall or Space Invaders, or they'd shoot you, what game would you pick to play? Kangaroo. How about yourself, Shane?
This presupposes that I have enough knowledge around the Atari library to give an answer. Let me see. I have one in mind, but I can't remember if it was if I'm correct or not. There okay. There's maybe a couple of options. Oh.
There's a bunch.
Wait, hold on. I need to see. Let me look at the question again because I wanna make sure. Forced to play that couldn't be. Okay, so I just have to play it. It's not like I have to play it for like a week straight or like a year or some crazy shit like that. I just need to play it. Um, Custer's Revenge.
They'd leave. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these things?
But that's part of the strategy.
There you go. What is kangaroo? How do I describe it? Well, you're a kangaroo and you're like climbing ladders. I think it's a Taito game. It's really fun. I'd have to go back and play. I think that's the reason. Like I remember playing this game at my friend's house, and for a long time I thought no one knew what it was. And so the reason I do it is because I remember playing it when I was younger. It's like, I'd like to play it again. I want to see if I can figure it out. I mean, the other one next to that would probably be Yar's Revenge, because I've heard nothing but good things about that too. So, right. Moving on to Masked Keaton's question. Previous one was from Game Over Hell. YouTube channel's fantastic. They released a review of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest recently. You should go check it out. Masked Keaton says, or asks, and by the way, the votes are tied over on our Patreon channel. So if you're getting tired of this, you can go over there and vote for that. It's tied between Final Fantasy Renaissance and Slime. Slime is the Q&A. So if you're enjoying this, great. We can keep doing this. I'm not having a bad time, but we can play a game if you want us to. It's kind of what we're supposed to be doing, but I don't care. All right. You are kidnapped by aliens and taken to live in their zoo. They don't want you to be bored, though, so they agreed to get you one game system in every physical game released for it. Internet connection is not possible. Which system do you choose? Shane?
Sorry, I'm still doing research into female game characters. What?
That
Kidnapped by aliens and
sounds perfectly normal, Shane. Which which female game characters have a crush on? Got it.
Yeah. So they agreed to get you one game with every physical game. Oh, damn. Oh man, honestly, that's actually Randall's answer is a good one because that library is huge and also pretty good. I feel like it would probably be either that or just because I have so much familiarity with it and it was kind of like the console when I was growing up. I'd probably say a Super Nintendo.
Ooh, that's not a bad answer. I'm going to say Nintendo Switch. There's an insane amount of games.
Yeah, well, that's true. I feel like some of them you might have an issue with the whole no internet connectivity thing, but
because I play Game Over Hell. Atari fans don't exist. Don't you know you're Mark Bussler? I mean, does Mark Bussler know his Mark Bussler? Going back to that, there's plenty of Switch games that I think would work without internet connection, and the ones that require an internet connection or those day one patches are probably ones I'm not playing. So, I mean, you think about all the amount of retro games that are on that system. You think about, more modern games on that system, remasters, everything like that. Its portability aspects, I wouldn't have to be tied to a TV, but I could go back to a TV if I wanted to, and that's one of the greatest flexes that the Switch has. So, for me, 100% the Switch. I just wish I had more time to play it. That's the only thing. But I got my Nitro deck, which I'm looking forward to. It came in this nice little case, by the way. Check this shit out, man. Like, this is cool. Like, even this is limited run, I know I'm going to get some hate. That's, like, it's nice, thick, it's durable. This thing, like, the Nitro deck, it's Persona 4, by the way. And that's the other thing. I could play Persona 4 on my Switch. Aren't you looking forward to that, Shane?
I can't wait. So, wait a minute. What is this? Why?
Persona
is this like 4. A special edition version of this?
Yeah, it's a Nitro deck.
Well, yes, but there are many Nitro decks, but you got a limited run one. So,
yeah, it's a Persona 4 special edition.
Oh, it's funny because I actually just got a Nitro deck this past week.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
but I wanted to get the Persona 3 one, but they were sold out of them by the time I could. Seems like Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog podcast, friend of the show, member of King of Games, is here. Hello, Dave. So moving on, getting to more questions. If I'm not responding to the chats because I'm going through the questions here, so sorry, everybody. Got to get these questions. This is Q&A. And yes, the beard. It's a little gray. What can you do? I'm old. From Tom the Superhero. If you were locked in a small cabin for 3 months and you had to choose between being with Nicolas Cage, Nicolas Cage or David Cage, who would you pick? Nicolas Cage, because I think he's more creative. Shane?
I feel like okay. Who is David Cage?
He's a game creator who was relevant for about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I too would pick Nicolas Cage just because I mean, 3 months is not a super long time, so I feel like his antics wouldn't get tiring like too badly, but
He has a lot of money.
it'd be entertaining. Yeah, yes, he does.
Yeah. So I mean, he could always order a DoorDash.
I I like they're like, yes, he's a millionaire, so he can clearly afford DoorDash.
That's how I think about these things. Can he? I mean, maybe not. That's a good question. Randall, if I handed you a blank emulation device, what is the first system and game you install every time? Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy 2, probably, or Chrono Trigger. That's me.
First system and game.
Thanks, Dave.
Huh. I mean, I know that usually whenever I do that, if I'm setting up my emulation stuff, it's again probably the Super Nintendo. First game though, it's kind of a toss up between Turtles in Time or Contra 3, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, so Super Nintendo, yeah. Konami for the win. David Cage is the creator of Omicron: The Naked Soul, the best game for the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, okay.
Good to know. I didn't know he was the creator of that game. I thought that was a Japanese game. I was way off base then. Think of a different game. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. PS2 every time. I'm so far behind. Just finally got to Dave's beard thing in my scrolling here. What do you guys think will become the landscape of the industry after the imminent Western crash? Shane, I'll let you take this one first.
Uh, um, I mean, I'm hoping that since nobody pays attention to anything unless it hits their wallet, I would hope that game companies and producers, etc., would like take a pretty good like hard look at things and realize that maybe treating video games like summer Hollywood blockbusters is not tenable in the least, and it contributes to a lot of negative aspects of the game industry, like the burnout and crunch culture and this need to constantly like recoup crazy amounts of money because you sunk crazy amounts of money into the game, and taking sort of a step back and realizing that like games do not need to be these giant spectacles. Like there are so many indie games that have been so successful by being more focused in their approach, in knowing what they want to do and delivering on that like specific thing. That would be my hope, is that it would be a time for them to kind of reassess their approach to things and maybe bring it back down to earth a little bit. But yeah, that's mine.
Actually, like Randall's take, because I'm looking through the chat. And if I don't respond to your comment, everybody, I'm sorry. I'm trying to manage two chats here. But hot take: video game companies shouldn't be able to go public. I wouldn't say shouldn't be able to. I think any company that wants to should be able to go public. But I think if you're a creator and you're really about getting into the business to be a creator, you should seek out a company that remains private. That's what my mindset is, because as soon as you go public, the entire concept, you're you're resigning your ability to be creative. And that's kind of how I see it. But in terms of the what do you think will become of the landscape of the industry after the imminent Western crash? I think we're going to see a lot more indie games. I think that's going to be something that's going to be real. I think that's going to become more of the standard. I think we're going to see less games, actually. I think we're getting a lot of games right now. We're getting significantly more games than we were getting 30 years ago. Like incomparable. Like we're getting as many games probably within a 2 to 3 month period sometimes. And most of which you don't hear of. You're getting more games probably within a 3 to 6 month period than you were getting for an entire console's library today. So I know that's going to kind of stymie creativity, and I don't want to do that because that I wouldn't want to encourage that. But when it comes to money flow, when it comes to getting your game out there, getting noticed, marketing your game, finding people who are willing to support your game, because if you don't have money to do all these things, you need to get from somewhere. That's going to become harder. So, the gaming industry is going to be, it's almost going to kind of be feudal, because a lot of these companies are trying to acquire a lot of these more talented independent studios. And then those companies on the fringes that want to stay independent is going to become harder to do. And I think it's going to become almost entirely PC centric. I think streaming is going to be the future. I think what Microsoft is doing right now is going to ultimately be the future of gaming. Whether or not it is Microsoft, I think you're going to get the ability to stream from your TV. I think that, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be Game Pass. That's going to be the standard bearer, but I think that's going to be a possibility. I think TVs are going to start coming with memory on board. I think it's going to be a direct streaming thing. I think that's what's going to start happening. I think we're already on our way there. And less games, less AAA games. The AAA games are going to come from the biggest players like Activision and Sony. And if you really want to technically qualify it, Nintendo. Nintendo's going to continue to do its own thing for as long as they can. I don't know how much longer they can, because it's going to be harder and harder for them to keep up. But it's going to be interesting. I think that we're going to get less live service games. I think there's going to be more attempts, but I think as more companies realize that just drains their budget, it's not going to happen. Scrolling down. Got to the Growing Up Gaming episode. Thanks, Dave. Do appreciate it. Blaine the Hoagie Man, or Savagery the Hoagie Man, asks, which character's voice can you do a pretty good impression of? I have no idea. I could answer that question before. I think I sound terrible at every impression I do. So none of them would be my answer. I know that's a cop-out. Sometimes I think I'm good. I'm better at impersonating people when I'm making fun of them, especially when it's in a professional environment. But I don't really think about impersonating video game characters. Mario from time to time, I'm not doing it. But Shane, is it Deckard Cain for you? I feel it's Deckard Cain.
Why would you say that?
No idea.
Yeah, probably that. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Keaton asks, have you ever tried to get speedrunning good at a game? Have you ever tried to get good at speedrunning a game? If not, which game would you start with? Yes, I have tried. I've not seriously tried, but I have tried to see how good I could get. And I did multiple attempts with Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2 would be my answer there. What about yourself, Shane?
I've never really tried. It's not ever something that's really interested me, if I'm being honest. But if I was going to try, I kind of feel like I'd be all right with probably like Turtles in Time. I feel like I could do that. We kind of crushed that one already, so I feel like I could make that work.
Which one again? I'm sorry, I'm reading the chats. I'm getting distracted. My bad.
Turtles in Time.
Oh, dude, I think we do have we could speedrun that. We've done it in what, 23, 24 minutes?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I haven't tried on purpose, but I feel like that would be a good candidate since I already can get through it pretty fast.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the comments here. My Cartman impression is good.
Thanks, guys.
I said I wouldn't do that, but I did. Fuck. All right. Tom the Superhero asks again. Thank you, Tom. If you were forced to be in a wrestling match in AEW and it was a cage match and you could choose your opponent between Brian Cage, and the creator of Omicron, the Nomad Soul, David Cage, who would you choose? Probably the video game developer over the Swolverine.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like he's probably a fucking nerd. I could probably take him. Maybe.
Brian,
I don't know.
Brian Cage is a nerd too, but he also is. He looks like a fucking. He has muscles on muscles.
Yeah. I would like to take the dev. Thank you.
Yeah. Isn't Nintendo public? They are public. But they also are in Japan, so their business philosophy is entirely different than ours. Their laws are different. Like, God, what was his name? We did an episode about him, who passed away due to cancer. Satoru Iwata. Everyone was like, and I like it. It sounds incredibly noble. It'd be great if more CEOs did what he did, but they're like, I will cut my salary in half because we lost out on money. Apparently, that's Japanese law. Like, CEOs have to do that. As noble as it is, that's something they got to do. Let's see here. Sure, but they're growing. Okay, there's discussions going on in the chat. Not sure if I need to jump in there. I don't know how far behind I am on these. So, question: given the choice, how long would you freeze new game releases? 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year? What do you mean?
Yes, I don't know if I follow the question.
If you could elaborate, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that.
Do you mean just like how long would we choose to just have no new games come out at all? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I would go 5 years.
Yeah. It's like, give me enough time to catch up on my backlog. Like 5, 10 years. That sounds good.
Why are we capping this?
Just no new games ever. We have enough.
Yeah. I want to do that, but yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
yes,
I
no new games. Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, I think most of us at this point could probably go the rest of our lives without ever buying a new game.
And one of them
we'd be fine.
One of them is Persona 5 Gold. Hey, some of you are going to have an opportunity to determine that. All right. High stock prices is the only value the stock market puts in your company if it doesn't really mean you're doing well or not. And there's a lot more to it than that. I'm actually studying for that. It's giving me high anxiety, the study I'm doing, but I'm learning a lot about the financial industry and stocks and stuff like that. It's pretty complicated. And actually is making me infuriated at the same time because it's kind of going against the entire purpose of what the stock market and stocks are supposed to be. And it's just like it. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. All right. Last question. It doesn't have to be your last question. Unless the voting has changed. Let me take a look at the voting. Voting has changed. So, yes, we will be going over to Final Fantasy Renaissance soon. After 50 minutes. So, it's only going to be an hour, unfortunately. If Mortal Kombat 1 released a DLC for a new Johnny Cage skin that was David Cage, the creator of Omicron the Nomad Soul, how much would you pay for it? You're assuming I buy DLC. That's a bold assumption. Well, I would say...
What? First of all, what is the thing with David Cage, the creator of Omicron the Nomad Soul? What is...
I don't know.
What is with this tonight? Like, where did this man come from?
I think I should... It makes me want to play Omicron Nomad Soul. Is that the one with David Bowie?
No, it's the one by David Cage.
Oh.
Yeah.
David Bowie in it, or something about David Bowie. Yes, it does have David Bowie. Yes! Okay. That's what I'm thinking of then. Yeah. So when are you guys getting in a hot tub and playing games? I don't know. I could pee myself, and then it's a little warm. How much would I pay for it? I don't know.
David Cage is French? Oh, never mind.
He's French. Okay. So you all have some fun. I gotta go relieve myself because speaking of the hot tub, because I'm serious, I do have to pee. Well, if he's French, he's automatically, like, you definitely have to pay me the value of the game in order for me to play the DLC. But, speaking of things smelling like piss and France, I got to go relieve myself, and I'll be right back. And then he can't be caged as the is cage, and Shane will keep you company while I have the right back logo on here, and I'll be right back. And I'm going to set up for Final Fantasy Renaissance. So see you then.
Watch out for Dr. Disrespect in the bathroom. Good lord. Yeah, David Cage. Let's see. Did we get all the questions? Did we miss any? I think we got them all. Yeah, no, I think we got them all. Huh. All right. Well, I mean, if you guys have any last, oh, there we go. Keaton's got a good question. What are we doing? So you want spoilers? You want to know what's coming down the RHP pipeline? Do you? Let's see. This year, and I gotta pull up our planning sheet here because I already forgot. We are doing. Let's see. What are we doing? Oh, actually, damn, I forgot. This Spooptober is going to be solid. So this time around we are doing System Shock 2 and PT. So that should be pretty good. Halloween on Atari. Quick question. Who do you think would be the best possible recast for Luke Cage in the MCU? David Cage. You just finished System Shock 2. Yeah, it is a yeah, sorry, Kage. Yeah, no, it's a good ass game. I gotta get in and play it again. It's been a long time since I played through it. But yeah. What? Oh, for PT? Yeah, I mean it's short, but yeah, I mean I think it would be a good discussion. I mean, a lot of it there's a non-zero chance that there will also just be me complaining about the fact that it got dropped like it did, and Silent Hills never came to fruition, and how I'm still salty about that. But yeah, man. So that's our Spooptober for this year. Actually, while I'm looking at it, did we plan out next year's Spooptober already? Oh, we did. Do you guys want me to tell you now? You'll probably forget by then. So, but I can tell you now. Oh my God, quick before he comes back. All right. So in 2025, our Spooptober tentatively is going to be Condemned and Fear. Going to be a banger. I'm just happy that I'm going to get Chris to play Fear finally because it's such a good game. Played the demo and got so lost during a cyberspace section. Yeah, dude, yes. Yeah, the AI is, at the time especially, it was crazy. So also, I have never actually played the first System Shock. I've only played the second one because that was the one that like everybody loves. Maybe someday I should go back to the first one.
Ah, but do you love it?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
I do.
By the way, I want to take this moment before I really set up for. I'm going to take off the picture of Saturn here. I'm sorry. Oh, you all love it. But I'm going to take this moment to introduce you to the fantastic dog toy that we got in my dog's bark box. And if you haven't seen my my tweet about it, this is the alpaca. Andrea the alpaca, apparently. Not
So not a bubbly dick, because that's
No.
definitely what that looks like.
this
Okay.
this is totally a llama.
Oh, I thought you said it was an alpaca.
Alpacas, llamas, same thing. Yeah,
It is not.
close enough. This cannot be mistaken for anything else. I don't see it. What does everyone think it looks like?
I assumed that there was a suction cup on the bottom of that, but all right.
It's totally safe. Non-toxic. Will not get your dog sick. It's nice. It's nice to chew on. So
Whose
See,
fucking Windows is pinging?
See?
I think that's you, Randall. I don't hear anything else.
that's definitely me. I can't. I don't know how to turn that shit off. I'm not that savvy. But yeah, it's just like your dog. You just gnaw on it and just like that. Perfectly normal alpaca.
Bubbled for your pleasure.
Bubbled. We'll take a screenshot of that. I had a feeling. All right. Got a notification. People are still pinging me in the Discord. Like our Discord members don't know I'm streaming right now. You dirty bastards. All right. Final Fantasy Renaissance. I'm probably going to have to quiet the crap out of this. Run anyway. I don't care. Volume mixer. Open up volume mixer. Uh-oh. This might get loud, everybody. That's totally me. There it is. Why is this not... I don't even know who Cage the Elephant is. I'll be real.
The ones that had the song "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked."
That's my favorite song from them, then.
That's the only song that anybody knows from them.
No. David Cage's brother. Okay. Why does it say Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster? I'm gonna delete those.
This is how you know you're a fucking nerd. That when you posted that, Dave, it's in a format that looks like a MAC address. Like that's the first thing I thought of.
Create new FFR Final Fantasy Renaissance. Still says made with Unity. What the hell? What the hell? I have no luck today. Okay. Like, y'all can hear it. Okay, let me try reloading it. Have you guys heard of Indigo Prophecy? I have heard of it. So,
I've heard the name, yes.
so why is it only capturing the initial screen? I don't like this. Have I ever played through it? I haven't played it though.
Oh, I've had this issue before with certain things that are full screen. It won't like it'll only capture like the first frame and then it just like doesn't do anything else.
Let me try a different route here. Like if I start it and then I open it in OBS, then it'll do it. Maybe this will fix it. See, when you tell me that, Tom, it doesn't encourage me. That discourages me. Because I've heard it's really good, but I also heard, like, the further you get away from some of these games, like... Ah, there we go. Come on. Advance on. Advance on little screen. So we're not doing that. Just play the game. I want to! I want you to see me play the game, though. Are you talking about Indigo Prophecy? Or Omicron, The Nomad Soul? By David Cage, creator of Indigo Prophecy.
I mean, honestly, he should have just taken the American McGee route and just put his name on like everything he makes.
Doom 2's... Oh. American McGee's good levels from Doom 2.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, I gotta look at Steam because they did that update where like they made Doom 1 and 2 like all super fancy now.
Is this thing for fucking real? This is what y'all get for picking the slime. What the F? I'm so upset right now that this won't work. It's like all the choices that our patrons make always get shit on. I was looking forward to this. You know what? If I shut the stream down and I come right back, I should be able to get it running. So let's try that. We can go back to Q&A. We can. But I can temporarily shut it down, start the game. Do you have a Dreamcast? I do not have a Dream... No!
Why ever would you ask that?
All right. Let me start. I'm going to start the stream back up momentarily. But what I have to do first is I have to stop everything and then apparently close OBS and then start Final Fantasy Renaissance and then play, because I think that's how I did it before. So I will be right back. Give me a few minutes. I am sorry for the poor quality of this professional stream. Sort of. All right. Be right back, everybody.